Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a rather long video. I know that this is going to be a long video, I just know it. This is going to be a video talking about lashes. I'm pretty much going to focus on the lashes themselves, how to find a good lash, the differences between different lash styles, how I take care of my lashes, and then I'm going to recommend some lashes, some of my favorite lashes to you guys. So yes, it's going to be a long video, which is why I have timestamps, which will be down below in the description box, so you can sort of skip around this video and just go wherever you would like, because I do have a lot to say, and some of you might know this information already, some of you might know all of it, or some of you might know none of it, so that's why the timestamps are there. So the first thing I want to talk about is a topic that I feel like you might disagree with me or agree with me on, whatever. It's my channel, I can do what I want. But basically, I want to talk to you about mink lashes. Now, I have never tried mink lashes. I do not plan on trying mink lashes. Minks are basically an animal. If you don't know, they're used for their fur. Mink farming has been in for a very long time, and for a long time people have been using minks to, make products. So for me personally, I feel like there is something very wrong in mink farming, which is why I totally disagree with mink lashes. There are a lot of lash brands that like to say that they use cruelty-free methods to extract the hair from the mink, that they do not kill the mink. If you're using a mink farm for your lashes, it's not cruelty-free. Even if the mink does not die while the fur is being extracted, it's still not cruelty-free. Minks are generally animals that are semi-aquatic, and I do not think I've ever seen or heard of any mink farm that caters to that. If you do your research, if you actually get into it, there's absolutely no way to really have a genuine cruelty-free mink farm. It's just not a thing. And I'm not going to get into it too much because, to be honest, I could go on a big rampage about this, but minks are semi-aquatic creatures, and do you really think that that is really available for them, that water is really available for them to be in a mink farm? I don't get it. So that's why every lash that you will hear me talk about in this video is synthetic. So that's one point I want to get across, one point that I want to make. There you go. Now that that's out of the way, I want to talk about what I like to look for when I'm shopping for lashes. So there are many different shapes, styles, there are many different things about a lash that you can look into yourself, that you can find, and it can be quite overwhelming. Now for me personally, when I look for a lash, I always look for a lash that has a lot of fake lashes on it, you know what I mean? A lot of cheaper lashes look like this. Basically, they have like this sort of look to them. They're quite sparse, and they're not really that bushy. I would much rather have a lash like this. This is a little bit more of a bushier lash. This will look a lot more realistic on the eyes, versus this will basically look like spikes on your eyes. So personally, I prefer to buy these kinds of lashes that have a little bit more hair on the lash band, because that I feel is the best way. And a lot of times, cheaper brands will sell lashes like this, and I always try to avoid those, because even though it's a cheap lash, it will not look as good, in my opinion, as a lash that has a little bit more body to it. So another thing I want to talk about are lash bands. Now, lash bands in general, there are so many different types of lash bands. Basically, a lash band is part of the lash that holds all the different hairs of the lash together. The lash band is essentially what is in contact with your skin when you put a lash on. Lash bands can be super thin, like this one right here. This is a lash with a very thin lash band. This is a type of band that I'd recommend for someone who's just starting out with lashes, because a thin lash band will look incredibly natural, and even if you're new and you sort of mess up your lash application a little bit, a thin lash band will make mistakes in application look a lot less obvious than a thick one. An example of a thick lash band is, for instance, these. These have a very thick lash band versus these. There is quite a difference. You can see that this looks a lot more natural than this would be. A lash band does come into play when it comes to how long your lashes will last. Lashes with a thinner lash band don't last for nearly as long as lashes with a thicker lash band. I'm someone who always tries to use my lashes as much as possible before throwing them away, and I have found that I've only been able to use my thinner lash bands for about 7 times, but that's me really stretching it before I have to throw it away. Thicker lash bands, I have worn some of my thicker lashes for about 15 to 20 times, and they're still good. They're still lashes that I can wear. They still look good. They still look almost new because of the structure that they have and because of the lash bands. Another thing that comes into how long you're able to wear your lashes is how you store them. I never have my lashes just lying around if I'm planning on using them for multiple times, and of course I always am. So whenever I use my lashes, whenever I take them off, I put them straight back into the packaging, because you always want your lash to have that structure, to maintain that structure. Otherwise it's just a strip that will be very difficult for you to apply. So you always want your lashes to maintain that structure, because that will make it easier for you to put them on again and again. So this is a pair of lashes I have worn about 10 times, and I keep them in the box. I always take them off and I put them back in the box, and that's how they're able to maintain this pretty relatively like newish look to them. The only thing that you want to do before you put them in the box when you're done with them is to just pick the lash glue off. I just used to do this with my fingers. A lot of people have like this very specific way of removing lash glue from their lashes, but I just do it just the old-fashioned way, just by picking it off, and usually it's pretty easy because I do have latex in my lash glue, and that makes it really easy just to take the lash glue off. Taking lash glue off in general is quite important, because if you have too much lash glue like just globbing up on the lash band, then it gets very difficult to put it on and to make it look natural when you just have globs of old lash glue on your lashes. Plus it's kind of disgusting, so I always clean out the lash glue from my lashes before I put them back into storage. Now that I'm done talking about basically the logistics of lashes, I want to get into some of my favorite lashes. I have 5 different brands to share with you. They're all really great brands, different price points. There's something in here for everyone. So the very first lashes I want to talk about are lashes that I don't really have with me currently, but I still want to talk to you about them because they are really good lashes. They are the classic Ardell Demi Wispies. Now, when I was first getting into lashes, I used to wear them all the time because they are very inexpensive. They have a thin lash band, and they are pretty much look amazing on everyone for every single occasion and every single makeup look. They are really good starting lashes if you are interested in starting out wearing lashes but you don't want to spend too much money, or you just don't want to just try to fool around with the lashes that's very difficult to apply. They look natural, they look fantastic, and they are very inexpensive. Ardell actually released a faux mink line, which I've really been liking. This is the only pair that I have from them, but I have been able to store them and reuse them quite nicely, so it is not a problem. I've worn these lashes multiple times, and these are really great. These are the faux mink number 811. This is what they look like. I've worn them in a few videos, and I found that these are probably one of my more natural looking lashes, and I also like the fact that they flare out at the ends, so you're left with an elongated eye shape, which is also really nice. Another drugstore brand that I really love for lashes is Kiss. They have 2 lines. They have their Lash Couture line, which is this one right here, and then they also have their Blooming Lash line. I used to wear these Blooming lashes so much, like all the time. They are lashes with a thinner lash band. I have 2 styles currently with me. I have Daisy and then I have Camellias. The only thing is, because of that thin lash band, they don't last for very long. I only was able to wear these for about 5 or 6 times before I had to get rid of them, which is why I only have 2 pairs with me right now. These don't look the newest because I've worn these for quite a few times, but I do try and take care of them. I try to keep them in the packaging, and they look just fine on the eyes. However, the Lash Couture line from Kiss is a little bit more dramatic. These are lashes I actually, when I first got them, I really did not like them because of that thick lash band. I just found it very difficult to wear, to maneuver around with, so I just kept them in the back of my drawer. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll like them in the future. And I tried them out recently, and I really ended up loving them. The lash band is something that if you're new and beginning to wear lashes, you will find very irritating. If you apply them wrong, it can be quite uncomfortable. It will look a little bit awkward on the eyes, but personally, I've been wearing them for quite a while now, and I really enjoy them. These are lashes that will maintain the structure for a very long time. I have worn these probably about 10 times each at least, and they look amazing. And yes, I'd really recommend them a lot. So yeah, these are 2 lashes that are really good. I have Midnight and then I have Gala, though I think my favorite one is Midnight. Next, I want to talk about Eyelure. Eyelure makes some amazing lashes, but the line that I really love from them are their Vegas Nay Eyelure collaboration lashes. I have 2 so far. I think I have Grand Glamour, and then I have Fiercely Fabulous. I also used to have Shining Star, but I had to get rid of those because I used them for a very long time. But these are some amazing lashes. If you're looking for good quality lashes at the drugstore that look very expensive, very luxe, these are some great options. As you can see, they are pretty dramatic. The lash band is pretty thick for the Fiercely Fabulous pair. This is a pretty thick lash band, I'd say. This is a little bit more of a medium lash band. It's not that thick, but it's also definitely not a very thin lash band either. I did have to trim these lashes before I could wear them. Trimming is basically cutting part of the lash off so that way you can fit your eye better. It's kind of like when you're getting a dress and it doesn't really fit right and it looks okay, but it doesn't really look great or feel that comfortable. But when you tailor it, then it just fits like a glove. It looks fantastic. You look amazing. Lashes are pretty much the same thing. These lashes and a lot of other lashes are a little bit long for me, so what I do is I just take the scissors and I trim a small part of the lash off, and that way it just fits my eye a lot better, just hugs it a lot nicer, it's a lot more comfortable and just easier to wear. But one big tip that I have for you for trimming lashes is that you always want to start on the outside. You never want to trim from the inner part of your lash. You always want to trim from the outside and then go in. That way it just looks a lot better in the long run.
Okay, so I'm watching this clip as I'm editing this, and I don't think I'm being very clear. What I was trying to say in this clip was we all have a natural gradient when it comes to our lash line, right? So the inside part of our lash line, the one closest to our inner tear duct, will always have the shorter lashes, all right? And as you basically progress towards the outer part of your lash line, as you keep going, you will notice that your lashes tend to get longer the more you end up getting closer to your outer corner of your eye. You get what I'm saying? So when you're cutting a lash, you always 100% want to cut from the outside going in. You never want to cut that inner corner, because that inner corner is what should be going on the inner part of your lash line. That is supposed to mimic your natural lash line. So if you cut that, you instantly just erase any chance of creating a look or creating an effect that looks relatively normal. So you always want to cut from the outside going in. You never want to cut that inside part of your lash, like, ever. So like, just keep in mind that when you're trimming, you always start from the outside going in. You never cut the inner part of your eye. Okay, so now back to the video.
My favorite lash brand is definitely House of Lashes, and if you guessed it, then you know me very well. I actually have a lot of different styles from them, so that's why I chose to include just a few of my very favorite styles. In general, House of Lashes, they make lashes that last a very long time, that look amazing, that look very quality and high-end, but at the same time they are really inexpensive, especially when they do sales, which they do every now and then, and they always have like a buy three get all three of them for $30, which is really great. So I have a few styles here to share with you. I have a lot more, but these are my top favorites. These are the ones I'm wearing today. These are the House of Lashes Iconics. They have a thicker lash band, which makes them a little bit more dramatic, and as you can see, they look very fluffy, they're very wispy, but I feel like these lashes are very versatile, which is why I like them so much, because you can wear them with a very dramatic look or with a more natural makeup look and they still will look amazing and beautiful. So these are some of my favorite lashes, but they recently, well, not so recently, a while ago they came out with their light collection, and these are basically all their lashes but with a thinner lash band and in general a more natural look. So for example, I have the Iconics here, and then they also made an Iconic Light, which is essentially the same thing, but the lash band is thinner on the Iconic Lights, and in general the lashes do end up looking a little bit more natural and a little bit more wispy, which is also really nice. I'm kind of tied between these two. I used to prefer the Iconic Lights over the Iconics, but now I think it's kind of the opposite, the other way around. I go through different phases with my lashes, but those are the first two pairs I want to share with you. Then I have these are our Allura Lights. They are very fluffy, very wispy. They're definitely a more dramatic lash, and these are the lashes that I want to wear when I'm looking for a lash that has that length, that has that volume, and in general, these are some really beautiful lashes as well. Then I have these ones which are called the Noir Fairy Lights. I wear these very often. They have that volume and they have the dramatic aspect, but they're a little bit more short. And if you're looking for a lash that will not distract from your eyeshadow look, whatever you have going on your lids, if you're looking for something that will not be as dramatic, these are a really good option to go for. And these are pretty much all my favorite lashes from House of Lashes. Whew, so that is the end of this video. I have shown you my favorite lashes, I have given you my favorite lash tips, and tricks. I hope that this was informative for you. I hope that you guys learned something. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just a consumer that loves makeup, and I've been doing this for a while, and I've been wearing lashes for a while. So I felt like I had some tips and some ideas to share with you on that subject. So in general, I hope you guys learned something useful and just enjoyed this video in general. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.